I found it at a thrift store, buried under a pile of old coats and forgotten clothes. It wasn't something I was looking for, just one of those items you stumble upon and can't seem to put down. It was a jumpsuit, dark blue with a patch on the chest that said Jack in faded white letters. It looked like something a mechanic would wear, a little worn around the edges, but in surprisingly good condition for something that had probably seen years of hard work. I wasn't sure why I picked it up. Maybe it was the way it stood out among the mismatched jackets and jeans, or maybe it was just the fact that I liked finding things with a bit of history. I took it to the register, paid a few bucks, and took it home. It seemed like a cool piece to wear around the house, especially when doing odd jobs or cleaning. I didn't think much of it at the time, but I should have. The first time I put it on, it felt strange. The jumpsuit was a little big for me, loose around the arms and legs, but it was comfortable enough. I figured it had just been stretched out over the years. There was a faint, musty smell to it, like it had been stored away for a long time, but that wasn't unusual for thrift store clothes. I wore it while fixing up a leaky faucet in my kitchen, and it felt oddly appropriate, like it was meant for that kind of work. But as I was finishing up, I caught a glimpse of myself in the bathroom mirror, and something didn't look right. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but there was a moment, just a split second, where it seemed like the jumpsuit didn't fit me at all. It was like I was looking at someone else, someone taller, broader, standing where I was supposed to be. I blinked, and it was gone. Just my own reflection staring back at me, looking a little tired and confused. I laughed it off, chalking it up to a trick of the light, and went about my day. But that was just the beginning. Over the next few days, I found myself wearing the jumpsuit more and more. It was comfortable, and it seemed to fit better each time I put it on, almost as if it was molding to my shape. I wore it when I was doing chores, running errands, even just lounging around the house. But the more I wore it, the stranger things became. I started noticing things out of the corner of my eye, movements, shadows, like someone else was in the room with me. I'd be cooking dinner, and I'd see a flicker of motion in the reflection of the kitchen window, but when I turned around, there was nothing there. Or I'd catch a glimpse of a figure in the hallway, just for a moment, before it disappeared. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, that I was tired or stressed, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. The jumpsuit wasn't just comfortable anymore. It was comforting, like a warm, familiar embrace that I didn't want to take off. I even slept in it a few times, which was something I'd never done with any clothes before. And every time I put it on, that name on the patch, Jack, seemed to stand out a little more, the letters clearer, sharper, like they were being restored, like they wanted to be seen. One night, I had a dream. At least, I think it was a dream. I was standing in a garage, tools scattered around me, the smell of oil and metal heavy in the air. It was dark, but I could see a car parked in the corner, the hood up, like it was waiting to be fixed. I could feel the weight of the jumpsuit on my shoulders, and when I looked down, I saw grease stains on my hands, my fingers rough and calloused. There was a man standing next to the car, his back turned to me. He was wearing the same jumpsuit, the same patch with the name Jack. He didn't move, didn't say anything, just stood there, staring at the car. I wanted to speak, to ask him who he was, but the words wouldn't come. I could only watch as he slowly turned around, and when I saw his face, my blood ran cold. It was my face. But it wasn't. His skin was pale, almost gray, his eyes dark and hollow, and there was a cold, twisted smile on his lips. He stared at me for a long moment, then said, in a voice that sounded like it was coming from somewhere far away, "It fits, doesn't it?" I woke up drenched in sweat, the jumpsuit clinging to my skin, and for a moment, I thought I was still in the garage. I could still smell the oil, still feel the weight of those eyes on me, and I had to force myself to get up, to peel off the jumpsuit and throw it across the room. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next day, I decided I was done with it. I shoved the jumpsuit into a bag and drove to the thrift store, planning to return it or donate it, or just get rid of it. But when I got there, the store was closed. There was a sign on the door saying it had been shut down, with no explanation. I checked my watch. There was no way it should have been closed at that hour. I stood there for a moment, staring at the sign, trying to make sense of it, and then I felt something strange. The bag was moving. I looked down, and I could see the fabric of the jumpsuit shifting, writhing, like something was inside it, trying to get out. I dropped the bag, and it fell open, spilling the jumpsuit onto the ground. For a moment, it just lay there, crumpled and still, and I thought I'd imagined it. Then it started to move, slowly, almost imperceptibly, like it was breathing. I stepped back, my heart pounding, and watched as the jumpsuit seemed to lift itself up, the sleeves rising, the legs straightening, until it was standing upright, like there was someone inside it, filling it out. But there was no one there. Just empty air, holding the shape of a person, with the patch on the chest still proudly displaying the name Jack. I wanted to run, to get in my car and drive as far away as I could, but I couldn't move. I just stood there, frozen, as the jumpsuit took a step toward me, then another. And as it moved, I heard that same voice from my dream, soft and echoing, like it was whispering right into my ear. It fits, doesn't it? I don't remember how I got home. The next thing I knew, I was sitting on my couch, the jumpsuit lying in my lap, like it had been waiting for me. I thought about burning it, tearing it to shreds, anything to get rid of it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. It felt like it belonged to me now, like I was meant to have it. The dreams got worse after that. Every night, I was back in that garage, standing next to that man with my face fixing cars, tightening bolts, wiping grease from my hands. But the garage wasn't empty anymore. There were more figures, all wearing jumpsuits, all with different names on their patches. They never spoke, never moved, just stood there, watching, waiting. And every morning, I'd wake up to find the jumpsuit lying neatly folded on my bed, even if I was sure I'd left it somewhere else. It's been weeks now, and I don't know what's real anymore. I've started wearing the jumpsuit all the time. It feels right, like it was made for me, like it fits better than anything else I've ever owned. I don't know who Jack was or where he is now, but I think I'm starting to understand. The jumpsuit isn't just a piece of clothing. It's a uniform, a role, and once you put it on, it changes you. I don't know if Jack was the first, or if there were others before him, but I can feel him inside the fabric, inside my head, whispering to me, guiding my hands, telling me what to do. I don't want to wear it anymore, but I can't take it off. It's like it's become part of me, and when I try to pull it off, it clings to my skin, tightening, squeezing, like it doesn't want to let go. I don't know how much longer I can fight it. Every day, I feel a little less like myself, a little more like Jack. And I'm starting to see things, even when I'm awake, faces in the mirror, faces that aren't mine, smiling, watching, waiting. I don't know what will happen when I'm gone, when Jack finally takes over, but I have a feeling it won't end with me. Maybe someone else will find the jumpsuit, buried under a pile of old clothes at a thrift store, and they'll pick it up, thinking it's just a cool piece to wear around the house. And maybe they'll put it on and they'll see the name on the patch and they'll wonder who Jack was. But by then, it won't matter, because the jumpsuit will fit and they'll be the next one to wear it, to become part of the uniform, part of the job. And the job never ends.